everyone, and welcome to Unglamorous in the City with Smith Rao. I am joined here by my friend, a true inspiration, Malir Burks, and I want to make sure I get your company. You're the founder and CEO of Burks Biz Development Agency. So, Malir, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited about this conversation we're having.
Oh, me too. Listen, fun fact, we live in the same building. So we have this conversation every day.
Yes.
We're just doing it in front of our, my viewers and my listeners, but we have this conversation all the time. So
Absolutely.
I am excited for this because I think this hour is going to go by really fast. So I'm excited to have you here. Thanks for taking the time to do this, to be in this gorgeous studio. This is a cool setup. This is actually a new studio room that I'm using, and I have to say I really like it.
I mean, it is so beautiful in here. Oh my gosh.
Right? Let's start off by talking about that. All the things. Looks pretty cool. So thank you again for being here. Obviously your title is pretty amazing. Founder and CEO.
Thank you.
Tell us, a little bit about what you do.
So what I do is I help event organizers and companies that are looking for their tentpole events to secure corporate partners. And it is a tedious task, but I love it because I get to go in the weeds of Fortune 500 organizations to hear their pain points and to really figure out ways to solve through experiential.
That sounds incredible. That just gives me queen energy.
Thank you.
And how did you get into that?
Fun fact. I wanted to be a sports agent. And I decided my first role after grad school was at a talent management agency where we were representing football players the greats, Eli Manning, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees. And what I was in charge with was finding endorsements for their camps. And I was just like, you know what? There's something to this. There is something here. I had to move from Kansas City because that's where I was, and I wanted to be in New York. So I actually found the opportunity to work with another sponsorship agency, and I was just like, I found my calling. This is so amazing. We were working in non-traditional sports properties, but I was like, everybody needs events. Everybody needs sponsors and partners to make their dreams come to life. So that's how I got involved.
I love that last sentence. They all do need that to make their dreams come true.
Yes.
Oh, how fun. And yes, I understand the sentiment of always being in, wanting to be in New York, and no knock to, any other city or any other region. But for me, I knew New York. It was New York or bust. I lived in other places too, in North Carolina and Pennsylvania, but I knew it was New York City ultimately for me. So I can understand that completely.
Listen, the vibe, I am a very much upbeat kind of person, energetic and outgoing. And so I went to school out in the Midwest, and I was just like, yeah, this is not it. I need to be in the city. I need to see where the action is happening. And I've loved New York City ever since I've been here.
And they say if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. And I love that because I think that's so true. It fits what we talk about on this podcast, right? Where it's not, I'm sure it's been a journey. I'm sure there's definitely been unglamorous moments.
Oh, yes.
But knowing that you've made it here is pretty incredible.
Yes, no, it's definitely been some unglamorous moments where you're just like, why? But it is just amazing city. And when the evening time comes on in the city, you're just like, this is exactly why I'm here.
Oh, that's true. And I have a thing I'm going to say that's probably an unpopular opinion, but I was walking through Times Square this morning. It was early, to be fair. I'm like, this is actually kind of beautiful when it's not crowded.
Yes.
Right? And I know I've been here 15 years, and I'm saying that as a New Yorker, but I have to admit I didn't hate it because it wasn't crowded, though, right? It's when it's crowded, but if you actually just look at it, and I don't, it's unpopular opinion, I'm sure, but there is something incredible to be like, I live here and I've made it here.
Yes. And it's okay. We are allowed to tourist destinations, but I totally get it when you're saying okay, when the crowd is not here, when you're just seeing the lights and the energy and the flow, that is why you're like, yes, I love Times Square. In the morning, and late at night.
Exactly. We're going to be very clear. It's very much based on the time, but truly, I was like, it's actually beautiful. The weather is nice today. It was really rainy weekend, and so now going into the week and having it be a beautiful day, I'm like, this really isn't that bad.
No, not at all. And when I just love New York when the weather starts getting nice, it's just like people just want to constantly be out. Yeah.
Exactly. So we're going into the summer,
Yes.
right? Which is so exciting. Like summer in New York City, there's nothing like it, in my opinion. As much as I like to travel and go all over the world, I'm like, there's really nothing like the summer in New York City.
Oh, it's nothing like it. It's nothing. I mean, I do love to travel as well, but the concerts, just being out in the city and getting lost in the city, finding a new restaurant, because now you have time to explore because the weather is perfect.
Exactly. It's not, I was in the Hamptons this weekend for Memorial Day weekend, and it was rainy. When I tell you it was raining the entire time, it was raining the entire time, which is fine. It happens, but it does kind of put a damper on the weekend wherever you are, right? Especially if you're at a beach, obviously.
Yes.
But wherever you are, it does put a little bit of a damper. It was still busy, and the train coming back was a little bit insanely packed, which we do that, because we're like, oh, it's quicker, but the trade-off is that, you have to sit and kind of sit in the aisle of
Yes.
the train. But that was very unglamorous.
That was very unglamorous, but you went to a very great place. So, the trade-offs here.
Exactly. It was a very unglamorous situation in a very glamorous place.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, Malir, I want to get to a couple of my questions.
Okay.
I know we talked about some of these things before. So, a lot of people see business development or sales. What do you think people misunderstand about what you do? And again, it sounds very cool. And you told us a little bit about what it is, but what do you think the misconceptions are about it?
The misconception immediately is that sales is transactional. It is like as soon as you come out the gate, they're expecting you to deliver a sale. It's not building relationships. Business development is all about providing a revenue system for them, just making sure that their value proposition is there and it's strong, and crafting the perfect narrative and pitch for each prospective client. There is a difference. Sale is like, hey, I have this glass of water. Do you want to buy it? Are you thirsty? The end. Like, that is it. And I think that people get that so misconstrued wrong when they're thinking, well, this is the same thing. Like when I come on board with clients, I have to tell them that this is a process. I need to learn your property and put you in the best light and best position possible. If you want a 30-day sprint, then I'm not the right company for you.
I love that. First of all, I'd buy a glass of water from you. Side note. Side note.
Thank you.
But that's interesting. It's like, you're right. And I like too that you get to a point, in your career where you can say, I wish you well, but I may not be the right fit, because you want to avoid probably any of that, the back and forth or the unrealistic expectations.
Yes. And I feel like this is the things that I'm learning as I'm growing as a business owner, is that I need to ground you in reality before we get started so that we are all both on the same page.
And that makes sense, like client expectations, right? Just in general, let's talk about that, because I feel like we could keep talking about that all day, but let's talk about that because that's interesting, right? Like just managing client expectations. Any tips for anyone that's, watching or listening?
I would say you need to put everything in writing.
Yep.
You need for them to buy into what is in writing. And the whole thing is to over communicate for client expectations. So if you're saying, hey, I'm going to do a touch base with you once a week, make sure that you're doing that touch base once a week. Make sure that before they can, 9 a.m., if you're agreeing to 9 a.m. on Friday, touch base, then make sure that either the email is in the inbox at before 9 a.m., or that you're on that phone call ready to deliver a report and have it nice and tight.
Ah, those are good tips. And it's kind of expectations on both sides.
It's both sides because, people come in and they're saying, I have the most amazing property. This should be worth $1 million. And you have to, before you sign the contract with them, you need to start grounding them on realistic expectations by still being upbeat though, but just saying, hey, this is growing. I can teach you how to get to the $1 million. But right now, let's start off your new property. Let's start off at a lower level goal so that you won't feel like you didn't hit your mark. And then you'll have all the pieces, because right now we're missing pieces to the $1 million, okay?
I think I've watched Selling Sunset, and I feel like that reminds me. It's a silly reference, but I feel like that kind of reminds me on what they talk about, where every client comes in and wants to overprice the property, right? Is that kind of similar to what you're saying, it sounds like?
Oh, yes. They are just like, hey, I have this number in my head because this is how much I want to make off of this event. Mm-hmm. And they're just like, yes, this is what we need to do, or it's bust. And you're just like, well, so how did you get to this number? What facts are we basing this on?
Nothing.
And so then you have to tell them like, okay, so let's just see how many people are showing up for your event? If there's 20 people showing up for your event, I'm going to need you to lower your expectations unless they are just the CMOs of this world. And then we can have some conversations. So it's just about managing the expectations, but making sure that both of y'all, before you sign on the dotted line, because you all are getting into a relationship, you both need to be on the same playing field.
And I was going to say, well, speaking of relationships, it's kind of the same when it comes, right, to managing expectations.
Yes.
So let's go there. When you talk about dating, right, especially dating in a city like New York, it's everyone comes in at a different point, right? I mean, we're not in our 20s anymore.
Yes.
So when you come in with dating, I think it's kind of similar too, of almost managing expectations and making sure that, if you're someone like, okay, I don't want to date a man with children, that, you're pretty clear about that, right? It's like that baseline, that expectation. I feel like that kind of translates as well.
It does, because one thing is that in New York, we don't have time. And we don't want to waste our time. So if there are some deal breakers that you have, like one of my deal breakers now, it's become because I've dated men with kids and I saw the repercussions of it. And I said, you know what? I don't care what age I am. I don't want to date a man with kids. I do not, because one, what I've learned is that they will put everything on the kid. Oh, I have to watch the kid. Oh, the kid is sick or something else like that. And you're just like, wow, this is a lot of times that you've had to watch the kid, but really you're just dating someone else.
And it's good. I will say it's good that the kid is the priority, because that means good father. But does that translate to good partner?
No, because you're listening to, I've had a guy. Okay, let's talk about this.
I hope he's not listening or watching.
I hope he's not. Who literally, we reconnected. We dated while COVID was happening. Yeah. And then we recently reconnected. And he was like, you know what? I don't know why we didn't work out. I'm saying, And then he started telling me about his children and that they're graduating, they're going off to college. And I mean, I want to say that conversation lasted a good 45 minutes. And then he went back to, why didn't we work out? And I said, well, actually, I wanted kids. And this man said, you still want kids? So I just feel like it's one of those things where the priority is never going to be you. In that situation, it's going to be all about them and their priorities. And then you're just like this afterthought over there. And so that's the real reason why I don't want to date men with kids.
And listen, I'll say it's beautiful that you know it.
Yes.
Because that, I think, is the hardest part. I think some people go into situations and don't know that. And that is actually not, like, what you're doing is fair. You're putting that out there. You're saying, this is my expectation. And again, going back to managing expectations, this is what it is.
Yes.
And this is my, this is my non-negotiable. And that's good versus somebody that maybe goes into it, maybe doesn't know, to be fair. But I think having a point of view on that is important, because that is such a big thing, right? And that is something that if you're going to be in the relation, if you're going to be in a relationship with someone, you want to also make sure you're part of the kids' lives. And like, it's just, there's so much that goes into that. So I can definitely appreciate the fact that you're very open about that as well. And I'm sure there's people listening and watching who can relate to that, because I think it's something people don't necessarily talk about, or they don't say out loud because they feel kind of bad, right?
Right.
But what is wrong in communicating what you want, especially as a woman?
I mean, men communicate what they want all the time. They want a woman that looks a certain way.
Oh, yes.
So,
oh, yes, that's true. And
so
everyone has a preference.
Everybody has a preference. Yep. So why can't I just tell my preference?
Yeah, it's true. It's like a man that wants a size 2.
Yes.
And again, totally fine. But then it's like, be clear about that. Don't date a woman and then try to make her change if she doesn't want to, or if she doesn't have health, reasons to do so.
Exactly. And so, you know what? We have to be, as women, we have to be bolder about saying what we want and what we don't want. And I notice right now, and I don't know if this is just the 2026 version, but right now men are seeming like they're the prize. And I need that to stop. I just needed to stop.
I love you. I love you. And you're not the first woman who has said this to me. And it's, I've heard this from my friends who say that they're maybe dating somebody and he's acting, and I don't think anybody should act like they're the prize. That's just my opinion, right? Because you're going into a partnership.
Yes.
There's a reason it's called a partnership. And so for me, one person acting like he's better or she's better, I just think that's so wrong.
It is wrong, but I think I might still be a little bit old school, and I do want some traditional
wooing. Wooing
yes.
is good.
Yes.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with a good old-fashioned wooing.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Like, let that happen. Not the when you gonna call, like, put your you can go out to a bar and a guy is like, oh, well, I'm a put my number in your phone. Like, what is that? Who does that?
Or not like 2 a.m. text you up.
Yes.
Like,
that is
we
not
want proper
wooing.
right? We want
wooing.
proper wooing. Yeah, I think a little wooing is still fine, right?
Yes.
But I think respect, too. I think respect should be on both sides, for sure. And I think that is what is so fundamental to any relationship.
It is. It is mutual respect. Oh my gosh.
Client or otherwise.
Yes.
Agreed. All right. I feel like we could keep talking about that. Yeah. Let's move on to a couple of the other questions. We'll probably come back to that. Okay. That's a good one. I think, especially, when I started this podcast, I'm single in my 40s, and again, you can say, the trolls can say whatever they want to say about that. But it's, at this point, this is where I am in my life. And I feel like so many people can identify with that, right?
Oh my gosh.
Because there are so many people now, like I know I come, from a culture where divorce was kind of taboo. Mm-hmm. I think we've gone away from that and more, in this generation, more so compared to the previous ones. Yes. But it's still a weird thing. And there's, again, Unglamorous in the City, no secret I like Sex in the City. There was a whole show kind of devoted to this, right? To this very topic of wanting to find, the guy and the career and everything and all the struggles and of course the beautiful things that come from that too. But it's a journey.
It's a journey. And actually, we look at the glamorous parts of Sex in the City all the time, but we don't think about when Mr. Big was just like giving Carrie the blues at all, or when Miranda was like in a bad situation with Steve. Like, we're not thinking about those little nuggets.
And it's interesting because now that I'm a little older and I go back and I watch some episodes, like Carrie was chasing Big, right?
The whole time.
And once you go back and you see, you're like, this isn't female empowerment. And I've said this before on the podcast. I like Samantha's character. And yes. I'm not talking about all the shenanigans. That is, yes. To each her own. But it's more just the confidence and seeing, I know my worth and I choose me. And I think for me, as I've gotten to this point, I'm like, it's the stuff like, I know I'm a good person. I know what I bring to the table. And it's not to be cocky. It's not even superficial, right? And I think that's the misconception. It's not like, oh, like she was like, I am fundamentally this way. I am confident. I have a great career. I have a great life. And she was always so true to herself,
She was.
And that was such a good lesson. Like in hindsight, I was too young to understand that. But now that I'm, the same age or older even, I can understand, I can appreciate and understand that it really, that is, how amazing is that?
She was the epitome of female empowerment right there. Like, she was amazing. And I never even thought about it like that. But now that you brought it to my attention, you're right. Like, she was a boss. She walked in every room and basically owned it. And people were like actually chasing her around, saying, please marry me. Please do this. And she's like, yeah, no.
Yeah, like the hot waiter actor.
Yes.
Jerry? I forget his name, but yeah, it's like she and she dated a lot, of course, as that show, obviously is about. But at the end of the day, like I know there's a scene where she talks about choosing herself, right? I love you, but I love me more. And I've said that before too, because I just think that's such a powerful takeaway, right? It's okay to, obviously it's a great, life is better with a partner, right? But it's also, you can't forget who you are in that process.
You cannot lose yourself. And that's the one thing that I think that in the right age that we are in, that we have.
I've already kind of disclosed my age on the podcast. Sorry, but it's okay. We're in a little bit. I'm a little older than you and your older sister.
We can just sit up here and just really appreciate where we are and value ourselves now so much more. And I think that it's okay. Like Samantha is telling us that it's okay to be single. It's okay to be bosses. It's just fly high and choose you.
Yeah, and you can still have such a beautiful life.
Yes.
And that is the core of what I want to convey, right? Through my guests, through just doing this whole thing, doing this podcast, is you can still have such a beautiful life, no matter what your circumstances are, right? Any unglamorous things that you're facing, whether you're single, a single parent, a divorced person, divorced parent, a not, divorced non-parent, whatever it is, you can still, never been married. I mean, you can still have a wonderful life.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. That is the thing that, sometimes when you're sitting, the unglamorous part of like in a relationship thing, you're thinking about like, oh, like, do I want to stay single? Like, what does this mean? But I love the fact that we are building this life that just looks very amazing. And it amazing on paper, but also we're living it and truly being authentic in it.
I love that. And I feel like for women that are maybe watching this, and especially young women, right? Because, when you're younger and you're kind of like coming to the city for the first time, right? And just so excited.
I love the energy of the young girls that are coming to the city. And I just feel like the world is at their feet, but they don't know it yet. That's the only thing. It's just like, oh no, like New York, you can say whatever you want. You can dream up whatever you want. And if you said, I want to be a custom shoe model.
Hand model,
a custom hand model. And then all of a sudden you go to 3 dinner parties and you're up there going to get a job offer to be a custom hand model. Like, it's just like a hand model. Yeah. It is so ridiculous, but I love that about the city and the energy of the city.
Agreed. And you can pivot in your career, that you can do that anywhere, obviously, but like, there's just something so special about doing that in New York.
I think that the pivot is on steroids here because people will be like, so what are you trying to do now? And you just like talk to your little board of directors and you're like, hey, I want to pivot. Let's just say I want to start my own business. Next thing you know, what I love about this community is that they will have a list of people for you to talk to. Somebody's going to tell you some referrals to get in contact with to start your business. They're like, not, wait a second, have you thought about things through? They're like, go for it and push you off the ledge.
Push you off the ledge lovingly.
lovingly.
Right, hopefully. But you're right. You can do whatever you want to do here. And that's something that's so beautiful. Like, I've met people, and all the time, that want to, make a transition in the career. Like, I used to work in TV and they want to get out of that, right? They want to get out of the industry because it is a tough industry. And kudos to anyone who does work in TV, but it is a tough industry. And so, I've had people that have reached out to me and said, how can you help me? How did you make that journey? Tell me about your, kind of your transition, because it's not easy. Like, it's not easy, but if you're going to do it anywhere, you should do it in New York.
Yes. Yes, definitely. And how did you feel when you made that transition?
Oh, Malir, I love this. I love this. Oh, I love this. I love it. I have to say it wasn't easy. It wasn't glamorous, right? Because I moved here without a job. I'm pretty vocal about that 15 years ago, like a crazy person. I left TV. I told my parents, love you parents, I said, listen, I'm moving to New York without a job. Don't worry, I have a plan. I did and I didn't. I knew I had to get a job. That was the plan.
Yeah.
But, I had 2 roommates, and I lived in Astoria, which is a really, really great neighborhood. Yeah. And so I just knew I was going to make it work. I had to figure it out, right? So I got a job that was kind of a temporary job, until I found something that was more in the marketing and PR space that was, and then that kind of propelled me to my career. So it definitely was so exciting just to be here. And I still remember it was summer, literally 15 years ago. It was in the summertime in July. And I just remember being so excited to finally be here because, I'd gone to college at Syracuse. A lot of people from Syracuse had already found their way to the city. So I had a good base here. I have family here. So I knew this was always where I wanted to be, as I mentioned. Yeah. But it did feel incredible. And I still remember those first couple of weeks in the summer and exploring. I remember being on Facebook, not to date myself, but, there was obviously not really Insta or TikTok or any of that stuff, at least to the extent there is today. Yes. And so I remember being on Facebook and being like, who's in the city? Who wants to go? And asking people. And people would message me. And then we would make plans because I had more friends here than I even realized. Yes. And, I just remember that feeling. It was just magical. It really was magical. And then, of course, when I got a job, it was a little more magical. Yes. Because I was like, okay, I got something. I can stay here, right? I don't have to move back home. And it's been yes, it's been unglamorous. There's definitely been a lot of, great things, but challenges along the way. But I've never regretted moving here, if that makes sense. I've always known, when I worked in TV, I loved working in TV, but the industry is really challenging. And back then, it was even harder, yes. Especially for someone who looks like me to be in that industry. And so as much as I loved it, I knew that I had to get out of it, yes. And try something new. And I have a lot of friends who have made this transition too, and we talk about it. And it really is a beautiful thing when you can pivot and make it work. Because I've never doubted myself. And I was too young then to understand that. Like I knew I obviously could fail. But yes. I just never doubted myself. I was like, I'll figure out a way. I'll make it work. I don't know what that necessarily is going to look like, but I will make it work. And it was a different time. I will say it's so competitive these days. But even back then, it was still a scary thing to do. But it was just such a beautiful thing when it started to work out and when I saw things fall in place. And then, of course, there was unemployment along the way. Like there were things that obviously happened. But to know that I can make it work no matter what happens. I will find a way.
Oh, that is so good. That is so good. It's just like, you know what, your temporary pain right now, look at like in 6 months, in a year from now, it won't be that way. I love that you're just like, nope, I'm going to make it happen.
Exactly. And I think you need a podcast. I love it, right? I was like, I love that. Yeah, I love that. No, but I think I love that we can share that shared experience, have that shared experience of coming here and just figuring it out.
All of the messiness in between. Yes.
Exactly. All of the unglamorous moments.
In between.
That have taken us here.
Yes.
All right, let's get back to my little cheat sheet. Now, we've probably already talked about some of this stuff naturally, but I love this question, was there a moment in your career where you realized relationships and networking were just as important as talent? So, you talk a little bit about, obviously, with your, clients, I'm sure a lot of it's referrals and all of this, but, talk to me about the power of relationships.
It's huge. It is huge because I used to think that my mom, bless her heart, she would tell me just, if you work hard, you do the work, people will recognize you. And I saw it countless times. Like in my career, I was taking that advice and working hard and making sure that the proposal looked good and just making sure that I had all the answers ahead of the call. And all of a sudden, I'm up here trying to figure out, I'm having this meeting, I'm having this interaction with these people. We're strictly talking about the proposal and nothing else. And then it was just like, oh, well, we'll get back to you. Then I looked at Tom. Tom didn't care about the proposal. He didn't care what he said on the calls. He was like, hey, you want to grab a drink? You want to go to dinner? Like, he was one of those people that would just impress you with his stories, but he was also bringing you in to build a relationship with you. And I was just like, wait, so Tom is not putting in half the work I am. But Tom is up here closing these deals like crazy. And I just said, relationships matter more. Like the fact that I couldn't at that time pick up the telephone and call my clients, like I still had to send them emails to schedule a call. I saw that there was a missing piece to the relationship. And now I'm just like, I had to take a book from Tom. I was like, you know what? Look at people from the left and the right of you. And if they're doing something better than you and you see that it's working and you see that you can incorporate it in, I love relationships. Now I can, if I have an idea about something, I can text a potential, like one of my friends that are sponsors. I can text them, like, just run this idea via text. That's the power of relationship. Or, I can invite somebody and always add value with the relationships. I can invite them to like a networking event that they might be in, they want to be in, the room they want to be in. I don't have to be there, but the fact that I did it just compounds and builds that strength of the relationship. So
I love that. And hi, Tom. Thanks, Tom.
Hi, Tom.
Kudos to Tom. But I love that so much. That's so true, right? It translates to everything, right? Just, even getting a hard dinner reservation in the city, those relationships help because it's getting harder and harder to go to some of these, amazing places that we have. We have so many restaurants here, but it's with everything. It's obviously work too, but just those relationships are so core to everything that we do.
Relationships matter. And I'm going to just tell you something. I was just impressed. I went to dinner on Sunday night, and my friend actually has a particular server that she wants to deal with at the restaurant. And she's treated like a VIP because of that. And it's just the power of relationships and power of just making sure that you know everybody around you. She can get herself squeezed into anything because of those relationships.
I love that. And it's so true. And especially a city, any big city, it doesn't have to even just be New York, but any big city, those are so, important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. If you're somebody that, let's just say your client wants to get tickets to, we'll say the finals, which I'm going to say that's going to be an OKC versus the Knicks. But
the Knicks. We're in the heart of the Knicks, latest victory. So kudos to the Knicks, too.
Yes, but if you have relationships, let's just say out in, I'll just use the other city, but you can call up and say, hey, I need a ticket. Do you know that those people in the Thunder organization, if you had the right relationship with them, would be like, hey, I got you 2 tickets. Here you go. It's power in relationships. It's power in actually building and connecting with one another and not just taking from people.
Oh, I love that. Not just taking from people, because you help me, I help you, right?
Yes.
And I always want to be a good resource for people, right? And I try to, especially when it comes to mentoring, I try to give back because I've had so many good mentors. But you're right, it's a give and take no matter what it is.
Yes, it is. It is a give and take. And when people feel like you're constantly taking, there might be a relationship there, but it's not the relationship you want. That's the thing.
We all know people like that, girl.
Yes.
They're more takers than givers, and are always kind of looking to see who do you know. Well, it's funny too because if the first question you ask me is what I do for a living, maybe you're making conversation. It's a commonality, but it also could be you're trying to see if it's worth talking. To me, I have experienced that a little bit where I'm like, it's nice. And I think sometimes like people are trying to find a common, ground. So that's fine. But sometimes I feel like people are just nosy.
I feel like people are just trying to feel like, if me talking to you for the next 3 to 5 minutes, is that worth value to me? How can I use this person? Oh, this person is, let's just say this person
Works for the Knicks.
Works for the Knicks. Oh my gosh. Then you're about to be my best friend for those 5 minutes.
Yep.
But if you work for the carpet company, then all of a sudden, I don't like the fact that people don't see the value in it. So
I agree. I think just be kind and be empathetic, right? Like that. So that to me is just not being kind.
Exactly.
I agree. Very wise words. All right, going back to my card here. So you help people grow professionally. Mm-hmm. Do you think ambition and success can complicate dating and relationships? So I know we've talked a little bit about relationships, but do you think that can complicate it? Or do you think that people are, I don't want to say threatened, but how do you think it impacts relationships?
I think that it does impact relationships significantly because, one, you need to date on your level. And I know that might sound harsh, but there's going to be guys who will not understand why you can't make the dinner plan at 6:00 at night because you're still working. You need to have the guy that is like, I'm okay that you're working, I understand. Or the guy that's okay with you canceling plans because you're like, okay, I gotta jump on this client call. I cannot make this. So I think that when you're dealing with some guys that are just like, well, I'm relaxing. So like my job is really chill. They might not always understand what you're doing. And so that's the first thing. It's just like, hey, I like to work. Is that a problem for you? Like, you have to ask that up front. And then you got to just kind of figure out what they're thinking and how they go. Like, if they're like, oh, no, this is not a problem. But they're just like, but, so like, how many vacation days do you have? Like, then that might still be a problem.
Right. Because it's like, oh, can you come with me wherever I want? Yes. But, I think you're right. I think what you're saying is 100% spot on, right? You just have to be aligned. Yeah. It goes back to alignment because you don't want to date somebody who's not aligned. And it's even bigger. It's your values, right? But it's also your priorities, right? And so just somebody that understands, like, you may be working 6:00. You may be working on a weekend, right? For your client. You have a deadline for a client. It doesn't matter what time of the day or week it is. Yes. You're working, right? And somebody who can understand that and be flexible. And that also goes back to just kindness, right? And being understanding and empathetic. But to your point, it also is alignment.
It's alignment. It is definitely alignment because I know I just recently went to Oklahoma, go figure, for my niece's graduation.
Oh, congratulations to your niece.
Thank you. And I was literally doing a project I woke up at 6 a.m. on Saturday and did it from 6 to 9. And I had some people that were around me that were just like, wait, it's Saturday. Like, you don't work on Saturday. I was like, see, no.
When you got clients, you do.
You do. You work. You do.
You do. And that's what makes you successul too, right? That's what sets you apart is your willingness to go above and beyond for the clients. And if you have a deadline, like I said, it doesn't matter what day or time, what day of the week it is.
It does not matter at all. It does not matter. But it is about alignment, most important.
I love that. And that's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that everything we're talking about can be true for career, dating, friendships. Like it's so true for all of that. And actually, I want to talk a little bit about friendships too. Yeah. Because I feel like that's something like when people talk about relationships, I think the focus is always on dating, whether you're into men, women, whatever. But I think there's also something to be said about friendships.
I think friendships actually get harder as you get older. When you just get out of college, you feel like you have about 100 friends or maybe 200 friends. Like you are just so accommodating, so happy to be around each other. And I don't know what happens as we as we age, but I do feel like there's a sense that we are like relationships get strained. And then I think that we grow apart in ways like new friends become closer to you than older friends do. It's so weird.
Right? It's interesting. It's like almost like you have like phases with friends, and depending on what, I mean, you grow too. I think that's the key word, is that you grow, the person grows, and are you growing together, right? And that's again, that's true if it's a relationship or a friendship. Are you growing together, right? Or have you, and I've talked about this before too, where there's a reason, a season, or a lifetime, right? For people. So maybe you just are outgrowing each other, and that's okay, right? Like maybe you just, I mean, this person, I've definitely had people that I think have come into my life to serve a purpose. And I don't look back on that with any, hate or any negativity. It's more just like, okay, this person was meant to be here at that point for whatever reason, and now the person is not meant to be there, right? And sometimes it can be hurtful. You can have a fight with someone you care about as a friend, right? Or whatever the case is, whatever the scenario is. But I do think there's a reason for all of that too.
I do like that. I definitely do. I agree with you on that. It's a reason. It's definitely a reason.
Right? And so everyone is, I mean, I do believe in that, like everyone who's in your life is meant to be in your life for whatever reason that is.
Yes. And you value, like, I'm going to say that I know that I value all of my relationships, and there are moments and memories that I have of everybody that I'm just like, oh, we had so much fun. Like, craziness.
You're a very nostalgic person, I feel like, because I totally am.
I am nostalgic in ways that are kind of crazy.
Same. It's like, you remember back in 2005?
Yes!
When we were on that road trip. Oh, I know. No, but that's beautiful, right? And that is the beautiful thing about life, is that you can meet so many people. And, just like, I like meeting people from all walks of life, right?
Yes.
And I've always been that way. Like, I've always wanted friends from every country, men, women, straight, gay. Like, I've just always wanted to just know as many people as possible. Wow. And you're right, but then your circle can definitely still get tighter, right? Or the ones that you like would call if you had to go to the ER in the middle of the night, right? Like that crew is obviously very different than your circle or the people that you go out to, have dinner with. But it is nice to have both, and it is nice to just have as many people in that sphere as possible.
Absolutely. It is so nice to have that circle. And I mean, one thing about New York is there's no shortage of people. No shortage of
For better or for worse, perhaps. But yes, there's no shortage of people for sure.
Yes. Oh, it's so crazy.
I love that. Okay, so let's get through a couple more of these questions. So I like this one. Have you ever felt pressure to appear like you have it together? And you do. But when you don't, or like when you're going through something, right? So let's say with your clients, you're going through something personally, but have you ever, and what tips do you have actually for kind of holding it together, right? Because I think client relations are so interesting because you really you almost have to be everything, right? You have to be obviously, it's your client, but you have to be a therapist. You have to be part friend, part therapist, is there ever a time where maybe you have to hold it together? You've had to hold it together. You have had to hold it together, but, you were going through something, or any tips for maybe you're not feeling your best. Maybe you're not feeling well, right? You're sick, but you have to hold it together. And especially with what you do, I imagine there's been times like that.
There's definitely been times like that. And I think that early on when I started my business, I was starting to deal with a personal issue. My dad was just starting to become sick. And I didn't know, like, you always think that your parents are just going to be just like how you remember them at the age of 10, like they're going to stay that way. And I think that I just didn't know how to deal with it. I went down to Atlanta because he was having a surgery. And so I stayed with him for a month. But I still had to run like my company while I was in Atlanta. So it was a very stressful time because I was just like, okay, I'm dealing with this emotionally, just seeing my dad get older. And then I'm just starting my business, so I have to appear like I am on top of it and have everything together so I wouldn't miss a beat. But I was there for my clients, but I'm going to tell you that they were not able to get a hold of me after 6:00 during that time. Right. I had to shut it down, just because this was like a space where I had to just kind of cope with what I was dealing with personally in those early morning times with my dad, and the evening times were like some of the best times. But it just helped me I had to compact my day. So time management is very crucial. Like, there was no lunch breaks and stuff like that. It was just like, okay, I have a lot going on. Here's the timeline. Let's make this happen. Because at 6:00, I'm closing and just dedicating my time to my dad.
I'm really sorry you went through that, because that's a lot to go through. And,
yes.
And I think family comes first, right? I really do. And it's hard, though, because people say that, but like, to your point, you still have responsibilities.
Yes.
Right? Especially when you're a business owner.
Oh, my gosh. Like, I can imagine, even though I am friends with my clients, I can imagine me telling them, hey, I'm dealing with something right now. I need a month. No, I couldn't imagine that, because they would just be like, I feel empathy for you, but I'm still worried about you're a solve for my problem. So
they would have gone elsewhere.
They would have had to go elsewhere.
Right. Because these are time-sensitive things. They're not, things that you could sit on. And so that's a really hard thing to navigate.
Yes, it is. It is definitely. So, I mean, that was very unglamorous, but I had to, time management was key. To making sure that the situation got down, and then just learning that you need to take a break. Like, you need to cut.
You need to pause sometimes.
You do.
Right? Because you can move all the beautiful things about living in any kind of city, especially New York, you can move so fast, but sometimes you need to just calm down.
Yes.
Right? And remember the things that are important. Right? Like, family is just, in my opinion, above anything else, right? So when someone you love is going through anything negative, just being there and in the way that works for you,
yes.
Right? That could be, for some people, that's taking a leave of absence, right? If somebody works at a company or a corporation. In your case, you have your own business. That's not really an option, right?
Yes.
So you had to figure out a way to make it all work.
Exactly.
It's hard.
Yes. Yes.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Oh.
That's, yeah, families first. Families first.
Yes.
Okay, let's pivot to something a little less heavy. Okay. So do you think social media has made relationships more connected or transactional? And I love this question about social media, because it's one of the things that I'm very, I think that people go online, see photos. I always say, like, the holidays are tough when you see photos from our family to yours. And,
yes.
We have loved ones in our lives, but it's sometimes you're like, oh, okay, that's not what my life looks like, right? So that's hard. So social media, I think, can be an amazing way to stay in touch with people. But I also think the downside of it is that it's very easy to go down a rabbit hole. If you're maybe experiencing something in your life, you're not where you want to be in your life, whatever that looks like. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe you, just broke up with your partner. Whatever it is, I feel like social media can be both a blessing and a curse.
Oh, it's it is a blessing and curse. Like, during the holidays, there is a sense of like, a sadness if you break up with the boyfriend and now you're like secretly looking at all the posts, looking at who is liking the post. Like, it is a rabbit hole that is just crazy. And I do find that social media hurts relationships, because, yes, I saw this 5-second blip about your life. So I might not have talked to you in 10 years, but now I feel like I'm up to date and don't need to talk to you. Like, oh, okay. So I
feel living the life.
Just living the life. So it is a, I'm going to say that it's a kind of curse, because people feel like they know you when they haven't really interacted with you in so long. And that rabbit hole you go through with the breakups or the holiday time, it's not great. It's not great for your health at all. Mm-hmm. The only time I think that social media is good is when you're doing it for collaboration purposes. Like, if you are genuinely like, oh, wow, like you do these amazing shoe designs. I don't know why I'm still on shoe designs.
That's why we love a good pair of shoes.
Yes. Like, let me reach out to the person that's doing this. I love your shoe designs. Can you make me some, or can I highlight them on my social media so you can bring more amplification to your business? Like, that's power there. But also, I do have another curse is TikTok right now, because they're overhyping all these places, and now it's hard to get into anything because there was a line at the hot dog cart on 6th Avenue.
That's
like,
amazing.
What?
It's actually true. You're not the first person who has said that, because it's like even the gems, right? Like the places that we have known because we've lived here for so long.
Yes.
And then somebody puts a video on TikTok, it goes viral, and then you can't get a reservation, even though you've been going there forever, right? Unless you know somebody. But yeah, it is. I will say it's funny. There are a lot of downsides. And I say this obviously as someone who's doing a podcast and going to utilize social media. So sorry, but so I think it has a purpose for sure. But I do think that comparison factor, and I get messages all the time, and they're very lovely, right? They're like, you're living your best life. I'm so happy to see that, right? Because people that have known through some of the things I've gone through personally. So that's a very beautiful thing. But I do think the flip side of it is, I don't know, maybe somebody who's creeping in your stories or looking at your stuff. I do have a public profile, and just not a well-wisher, right?
Yes.
And then just being like, oh, she's always traveling, or gosh, she's like, doing all this or shopping here or shopping there, whatever it is. And it's so sad because it opens it up to everybody, right? Mm-hmm. Like, obviously to your network and your people, it's a beautiful thing because people can see what you're doing and are genuinely happy.
Yes.
But the people that are not, it does open up that kind of like, oh, geez, like, just a negativity.
It does. It opens up the negativity so much that you're just like, but what I do love about the negativity, and it's going to be really weird, is that you spent time out of your day to go through my post or whatever I did, and you're sitting up here commenting on me. I am occupying space in your life. And the fact that I didn't know who you were, and you're just spending all this attention on me, that means I'm doing something right.
Exactly. There's something to be envied. And I've definitely had trolls in my career, especially in TV. And it's, what I'm like, I feel sad, right? I feel sad for you. There's nothing anyone can say now that would really bother me, right? You want to make fun of whatever, right? I don't care. My physical appearance, fine, right? Like, I don't really care what somebody who does not care about me thinks.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
So your opinion is fine. And thanks for having it, I suppose. But, I don't dwell on that stuff. Like, I know the intention is to try to hurt someone.
Yes.
And that to me makes me sad for you, not for me.
Exactly. That is the part. It's just, you're just like, wait, so you took all this time to do this? Like, get a life.
It literally. And also half the time it's people that are behind, a fake profile.
Oh, of
or
course.
There's no photo. I mean, it's not an accurate, it's a very cowardly thing to do. So go on and live your cowardly life.
Yes, absolutely. No, 100%.
I agree. Well, you know what? We're going to keep doing things that if there are people out there that want to comment, it's fine. But I think overwhelmingly most people are positive and are, I have a great network of people supporting people, women supporting women, and that is the beautiful thing about life, is that you surround yourself with people like that and not the trolls.
Exactly. And then it's just like, you keep on getting people pouring into you, you pouring into people. Blessings are going to happen for you. and it's just you're going to continue to shine.
I love that. Okay, so we have time probably for one more question. I feel like that's such a nice way to end, but we're going to do one more question.
Okay.
And of course, the name of the podcast. So for anyone, who's going through an unglamorous chapter right now, what is your best advice?
Sit in it. And I speak this from experience. It is okay to go through an unglamorous chapter. It is part of your journey. It is part of life. And I would just embrace it. Sit in the silence, if that is the unglamorous part, you being unseen right now. Sit in it. Develop yourself while you're in it. The whole thing is find the magic in this unglamorous part. That is actually want to get you to your next destination. If you're just constantly like, why is this not working? Why is this not working? That is not going to do anything for you. It is just going to make you feel stuck. And you sitting there for about 6 months not moving the needle. If you just embrace, this is where I am right now. And let me find all the positives that I can, then that is what you need to do for that part of your life. Sit in it, sit in the space, sit in the stillness, the silence, just build upon it. That's what I would say.
I love that. And I love it's so simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like it'll pass, It
will pass. It will pass. 6 months from now, you will not be in that same situation. Instead of thinking about things happening to you and being in a victim mindset, when you sit in it, you embrace where you are, you can find ways and routes and avenues to get out of what's going on in your life.
Malir, I love that. I feel like that's a good way to end the podcast. You have been wonderful. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing, just having all of the wonderful, insightful things to share. I really think that, hopefully we can help even one person out there, that our job is done.
I hope so. I definitely hope that we can help one person out there.
And actually, before we end, I should ask you, where can people find you?
Oh, well, you can find me on LinkedIn. Lord, I love it. I'm never the one that is always, but you can find me on LinkedIn, and it's Malir Burks on LinkedIn. And you can find me at Burks Biz Development Agency and on my website. So if you just type in Burks, Burks, Biz Development Agency, I will pop right on up for you.
Malir, you have been a delight. Thank you again.
Thank you.
So good to have you here. And to everyone watching and listening, thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us. And I'm just going to end with this. Please remember that sometimes the most unglamorous moments in life are where the real story begins. So thank you. You are amazing. Hopefully we'll have you back at some point. And I hope you have a great day. And everyone, take care. Bye.
Bye.